All right, welcome back to the second episode of Season 2 of the First and 35 podcast. I'm your host, Gus Cousins, along with my main co-host, Ben Jordan, and another co-host who will be joining us soon, Tomoki Graham, who will only join us for baseball because he doesn't really know anything about any of the other stuff, and he doesn't really want to talk. So he'll join us in a bit. After a relatively slow week last week in which we both bombed ourselves on in trivia, followed it up with a big sporting week in all aspects. The Super Bowl, the main one going on today down in Miami, the whole Kobe Bryant thing, baseball's going nuts. Novak Djokovic just won something this morning, I think.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I don't know anything about tennis, but I mean, good for him. He keeps winning. Baseball's going nuts. Edmonton and Calgary beating each other up on the ice. So a lot going on after a very slow week. But the big one, well, there's a couple big ones, but the big one we'll start with is the Super Bowl matchup tonight in Miami. The Kansas City Chiefs going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Be the big game to see if Jimmy Garoppolo actually throws the ball. I think that'll be fun. I mean, obviously it'll be fun to watch because it's the Super Bowl. It's weird to think about, though, because after today, there's no football for like 7 months.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's like one of the only sports
no
where there's
CFL,
such a
right?
big...
No NFL, nothing.
Nothing.
College
It's such
is
a
done.
big
Yeah, you're
layoff.
right.
It's like bittersweet almost because it's like, oh, it's the big game. Everyone's going to be watching. It'll be, even if it's a blowout from one team or the other, it'll be so much fun to watch. And the atmosphere is great down in Miami and it'll be jam-packed and everyone's having a great time. But after tonight, well, aside from the winning team, nothing will be happening. There'll be moves. There'll be, free agency will start up
little
soon.
things.
But nothing will be happening, which is just kind of really weird to think about. But yeah, so that'll be on at 6:40 tonight Eastern. Again, it'll be a great game, obviously, because of the Super Bowl. Last I checked, I think the Chiefs were the favorite on the spread, but spreads never really mean anything in my opinion. So
I think Patty Mahomes is gonna go crazy.
I hope he does. I think great offense. Both offenses great. One's throwing, one's running.
Yeah.
Like that'll be what it comes down to. Can Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and everyone there, throw and get more air yardage than everyone in San Francisco running the ball? And so I think that's what it'll come down to. I mean, I said that again about the Tennessee Kansas City game, and then they just decided not to hand the ball to Derrick Henry for no apparent reason. So I guess we'll see how it goes. Yesterday, though, the Hall of Fame inductions and the award winners were announced for the NFL. So to just run through some of those quickly. Edgar and Jones from the Indianapolis Colts, Troy Polamalu and his luscious hair, Steve Atwater, Steve Hutchinson, and Isaac Bruce were all elected into the Hall of Fame. There were 5 guys this year. Not Zach Thomas, unfortunately. He missed again. The ex-Miami Dolphin, who I keep saying should be in. I don't know how the NFL works with its Hall of Fame inductions. I know, in the MLB you have 10 years, kind of. I don't know how that works with the NFL. So
I'd assume it's similar. I mean,
I would assume
you don't want to just have
too.
Guys keep lingering and being added, and then eventually your ballot's like hundreds of guys.
In any case, it was disappointing to see Zach Thomas not be on the list. He made a statement saying, I'm glad everyone that did make it is there. They deserve it and all that. But then he said he was a little disappointed. Really, really good for the Dolphins for quite a long, long time. So, I mean, if it is not his last year, he'll be, in my opinion, like the Larry Walker, except he's not Canadian. He should be in, but no one ever really gets him in. But we'll just wait till next year, I guess. The awards that were handed out, Lamar Jackson obviously won the MVP unanimously for the second time in NFL history behind Tom Brady in 2010.
Yeah.
I don't think that came as much of a shock to anyone.
No, I really didn't.
Jackson's coach, John Harbaugh, won Coach of the Year. Again, not a surprise because Baltimore's amazing run. A couple other ones. Michael Thomas and the Saints won Offensive Player of the Year. He was great all season long. Also not a surprise. Yeah, none of these were really surprises. Stephon Gilmore, Best Defensive Player the entire year, and that's why he won the Best Defensive Player of the Year award. Nick Bosa won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think that was really in question either. He had such a great year for the 49ers, and I mean, tonight we'll see what he can do on the edge, right, rushing in. So I think that'll be good for him. Kyler Murray won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Billy Bean and the Oakland A's are really disappointed to hear about that.
Yes.
But yeah, he looked decent, I think, at best with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was bad. He also didn't have the best stuff to work with.
A bunch of people were saying that Josh Jacobs, the running back on the Oakland Raiders, probably should have won. I think it could have gone either way. I mean, I didn't follow either team, closely at all. But I mean, good for him, I guess.
I would say I think they both had pretty good years.
Yeah, they both had really good years for rookies. It's just they both played on relatively bad teams, and that's what it kind of comes down to. Lamar Jackson also won the throwing player of the year, so in the air for yardage. Not a surprise there. Derrick Henry, best running back in the league. He won the ground player of the year. And then my favorite, Ryan Tannehill wins the comeback player of the year, and he'll get paid lots of money this offseason.
Yeah. Is he a free agent?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So he's I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that the Titans will re-sign him anyways. But yeah, he was great after he took over for Mariota. Like I think it was 7 weeks in when they went 3-4 or something like that. He was just brilliant the rest of the year. Brilliant in the playoffs. Took him to the championship game. Yes, everybody. The minute he became the starter, everything just started clicking for them, and I think it's great for him because he was kind of an underachiever the entire time in Miami.
Like, lots of injury problems and stuff too.
Yeah, near the end.
Yeah.
Like he only got into the playoffs with the Dolphins once, and that was the game where he had to be taken out of injury. Matt Moore had to come in, and then they got smoked by Pittsburgh anyways. But it's good for him to bounce back. He was never terrible with Miami. He always showed the potential, but just the Dolphins could never get him any protection up front, and he got hit so many times. But this year with the Titans, he showed that he can be like an effective playmaker. He can run some. He can throw the deep ball accurately to hell. Like it's insane how when you give a guy talent,
hand it off to Henry.
Hand it off to Henry too. Like that whole team, he just the corroboration between all of them. Yes, it's a great blend. So that was good for him. Good for all of them, I guess. The Browns hired Andrew Berry as their new general manager in the year-to-year swing of who gets hired as the Browns GM. He's 32, so I believe he's either the youngest or one of like the 2 or 3 youngest GMs in the National Football League. He spent 2016 to 2018 with the Browns as the VP of Player Personnel, and so they obviously liked him enough there that they brought him back as the full-time GM. He worked in 2019 as the Eagles Vice President of Football Operations, and then before 2016, 7 years in the Indianapolis Colts front office. So he obviously thinks he knows what he's doing. I mean, so does everyone that goes into Cleveland. Now we'll actually see what comes of it. The other weird general manager move was that the Texans promoted their head coach, Bill O'Brien, to be both the head coach and the GM, which is not a move, although many teams give kind of the general manager making power to the head coach. You still have 2 separate entities.
It's not labeled
2 separate people.
Yeah.
Yes. So in Houston now they'll have Bill O'Brien manning both sides of the show, I guess. But I mean, I know some people I was seeing online that were kind of disappointed that he was even still a head coach because of the way he play calls, and not a lot of people like him. But I guess they think that's where it'll take him, and I guess we'll just wait and see. Couple other NFL, CFL related news. The Dolphins were working out CFL quarterback Chris Streveler. He won the Grey Cup for Winnipeg last year. You see this kind of every offseason here and there. A couple teams picking up on just the good guys in the CFL and saying, we'll give you a PTO, we'll give you a shot. Sometimes we'll put you on the practice squad. We'll see what can happen. And that's what the Dolphins did with Cameron Wake however many years ago. And they struck gold with him because he was a great player in the league for a long, long time. So I guess that's
so why not give it another shot?
Yeah, right? And Chris Streveler is a Taysom Hill type player. Not a great thrower. Hill's obviously a much better player than Streveler, but for comparison's sake, not a great thrower, but he can run like Hill. He's a effective, runner, wide receiver type guy. I don't think it hurts if he wants to come to throw him on the roster. You don't even have to play him a lot, but have the versatility of a Taysom Hill type guy on a growing Miami team that can only get better.
Yeah,
I think that'll be interesting. The Bears are gonna sign Calgary Stampeders cornerback Trey Robertson. They haven't announced the official contract, but apparently it'll be the largest deal since Miami signed Cameron Wake. Robertson was probably the best defensive player because he won that award in the CFL this year. I would be very shocked if he's not starting for the Bears next year. It's usually easier, I would say, to transfer from the CFL to the NFL in terms of defensive players because it just
gets smaller.
It's smaller, more similar. In the case of Chris Streveler, if he were to throw the ball, it would be much different, right? Because it's different
dimensions.
Yes, exactly.
All that stuff.
So it'll be tougher for him to transfer. But I think Trey Robertson is a great find by the Bears, assuming they do get him locked up. And I'd be interested to see how much they sign for him for how long, because a lot of these guys, come out of college in the U.S. and they don't make any NFL teams or practice squads. So they go up to Canada, they ball out up there, and then they come back down. So I think that'll be interesting to see. And the last piece of news is the Carolina Panthers have decided to mutually part ways with their 34-year-old tight end Greg Olsen. Longtime tight end on the team, but they've, I guess, decided that it's time to move on. Yeah. And Olsen released a statement on social media saying, we've a long one actually, it took forever to read, but saying, this is how we feel the organization is going. I'm going to step away. They've decided it's okay. So it's kind of a mutual,
which
separation.
You never really know exactly what's going on, right?
No, but I believe, I know for a fact Greg Olsen will get a chance somewhere else. He wasn't the greatest tight end by far, but he's still playable. You can still use him. He's a good veteran guy, and he brings lots of experience. And, he's had many great seasons with Carolina, and I would be absolutely shocked if somebody else didn't take a chance on him. So that's part one of 4 of major news.
Yeah, there seems to be major news in every single league.
Yeah, so let's go to the NBA, which you are the most knowledgeable about.
Yeah, well, I think both of us know the main news, right?
Yes, everyone and their mother.
It was a week ago, right?
Yes,
Sunday.
It was last Sunday.
Yeah.
Since the crash.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what I never followed him, right? So you feel bad for
everyone listening probably knows, but Kobe Bryant was dead at the age of 41. He died in a helicopter crash along with 8 other people, including his daughter Gianna. Those are sort of the main 2 pieces, but I think there was also an Orange County college baseball coach along with his wife and daughter and another family. I think they were just heading to a basketball related event for Kobe's kid. Other 2 families had kids on the team as well.
Yeah.
Just sort of, I wouldn't say fluke, but just based on, I don't know if you saw the weather conditions and stuff that they released, and the Los Angeles area had to shut down their helicopters or whatever. And I think I read at a certain point they were flying only 500 feet above the ground. It's no matter where you are, it's not safe, let alone going through mountainous passages and
and obviously it took the whole
Los Angeles, right?
I would say the whole world, but mostly North America by shock.
Yeah, complete shock. The night before, right?
Yes,
it was the whole LeBron just passed Kobe.
He watched him beat his record, and then so the Lakers. They were supposed to play the Clippers, I believe, and they had to postpone that game.
Yeah.
And, everyone was taking 24-second shot clock violations and 8-second
I think
violations here and there.
Right?
Yeah. Even up here in Canada, I saw a bunch of OUA teams doing that.
Yeah.
So it's spread far and wide, and it's just terrible news to hear.
Yeah,
but
and even beyond basketball, right? I don't know if you saw the Blue Jackets. They brought Werenski and Nathan Gerby, who are number 8 and number 24, just out on their own to do the anthem. Dumbo wore a Bryant nameplate.
Yeah,
in
a lot of teams. I think almost every team, right? I mean, the Kings, obviously, the Ducks, everyone on that side more so. But even guys on the East Coast or down south, like the Stars or the Islanders, teams like that, everyone got involved. It's a brutal tragedy.
Yeah,
and obviously, it goes without saying that we all wish it never happened, but because it did, we kind of have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's funds, donations going to their fund and all that. But
I don't. His foundation. Him and his wife. It must be.
And it's all worth it. I get obviously, but yeah, it's just so out of the blue that nobody.
It was really out of the blue. I think. Yeah.
Yes, we were it was just caught us both by it.
I think we were together, and we both saw the notification, and we're like, is this even true?
Yeah, because
the source wasn't necessarily so credible, and
but then
all the information came out, right? And
so, it's already a tough year for the Lakers because of this, but then, it's just you gotta keep going forwards because that's what
you can't just not play, or you gotta play for him. You gotta just dedicate.
Yeah, and I know that when it happened, lots of people were saying we'll just postpone all NBA games, and they didn't. You can't do that because it's just too much. Guys pay for tickets, players are ready to go to play the game.
Yeah,
it happened right before the Raptors game, and then Nick Nurse found out about it, and that was a whole story. So you can't just stop, the National Basketball Association just because of one thing.
Yeah, and half these guys probably want to play for Kobe, right?
Yeah, and it's the whole swapping of numbers, wearing numbers, honor this, honor that, yada yada yada. But it's just such a weird scene because nobody saw it coming, so nobody really knows what to say.
Yeah, and they're gonna continue honoring it in the All-Star game, which takes place February 16th in Chicago. They have they altered the rules a bit to honor Kobe. They're doing each quarter as like a separate game, and then the fourth quarter will be a game based on accumulated points from previous quarters plus 24 to
I hate that so
represent
much.
Kobe. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Any event you come up with where you have to have like 8-point forms explaining the rules.
Yeah, I know. I know.
get okay. It's the right idea to honor these guys, but condense it down, like consolidate some of it together, and make it simpler to understand. Like I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, you would have thought like, also Team Giannis will be wearing all of them will be wearing number 24, and all of Team LeBron will be wearing number 2 to honor Gigi. It's like that's honoring them enough, and then they're also having they're putting patches on their jersey that have 9 stars on them that represent each of the 9 lives lost. Right?
Do all that, but why can't you just have a normal game? And then just say the winning team gets however many millions of dollars to donate towards, Bryant's foundation, then whatever charities you want. Why do you have to make it?
Yeah, exactly. You could do like 24 million to Bryant's charity or whatever.
Maybe like 2.4 million.
2.4 million.
Yes,
sure.
like to
and or like 800,000
for every player, right? To donate to a charity they want.
Exactly. 24 million. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. Even for the NBA, Adam Silver would not go for that. Yeah. But
anyway, continuation of the All-Star game. They've named the starters, they've named the reserves, so I'll just run through them quickly. The West players who were named as starters were Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. The starters for the East were Giannis, Pascal Siakam, Joel Embiid, Trae Young, and Kemba Walker. So I think the fantasy draft for that will be happening this Thursday, February 6th.
I didn't even know there was a fantasy draft.
Yeah, LeBron and Giannis, the two captains, sit down. They get to draft their starters out of that pool, and then they get to draft their reserves out of the pool from the East of Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton, Domantas Sabonis, Ben Simmons, and Jason Tatum. And from the West, Rudy Gobert, Nikola Jokic, Brandon Ingram, Donovan Mitchell, Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, and Chris Paul. So out of all those players, they get to construct their own team.
No Devin Booker there.
Yeah,
that was a bad one.
That was surprising.
Now, to be fair, everyone's saying, okay, he was a snub. Okay, then you have to pick someone for him to replace.
Well,
and I'm saying he should be there, but I'm not smart enough to decide who goes.
Well, if you're comparing like position by position, he's had a much better year than Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I can put him over
like
Donovan
for
Mitchell.
Shooting guard, like Booker's shooting like 45% from 3, 50% from the field. He's putting up numbers that only like elite company have put up, like Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Curry. Like it's kind of insane. But again, you also sort of get lost in the whole Phoenix market. No one really pays attention.
How are the Suns doing?
They're in a playoff spot and they're above 500, but it's just sort of like a market no one really talks about. It's all LA and New York and Knicks, and the Knicks get more attention even though they've won I don't even know if they've won 10 games.
Yeah,
it's kind of just it's stupid. Anyway, Bradley Beal was also on air saying how he was pissed off and whatever. It's like, well, it's the same thing you were just saying. We'll pick someone he can replace, right?
Yeah, it's easier said than done, literally in this case, because then you have to pick someone who you think doesn't deserve to be there over you. And, I mean, all of these are good players, so it's tough to decide, right?
Exactly.
Because the NBA rosters are so much smaller than, say, NFL Pro Bowl or MLB All-Star Game or even the NHL All-Star Game. It's much more condensed, so you have to be very careful with your picks.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, it's up for a lot more debate. Like, they don't have the strict rules like they do in the NHL where it's like one player from every team has to be represented, stuff like that. So it's harder to actually pinpoint, this guy has to be here, this guy doesn't, like stuff like that. Anyway, a little bit of Raptors news. Norman Powell is out indefinitely. He fractured his left hand at the end of the Pistons
just what
game.
We all need, right?
Yeah, another one, right?
You're beating the Pistons by a good amount, and not another injury for crying out loud. Like
it's a train of injuries.
I'd be more upset if they didn't manage to keep winning. These games. They won 10 in a row or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, but it's a joke. It's becoming a joke at this point. Everyone has been injured pretty much, right? I don't mean literally everyone. It just seems like everyone has.
Well, they've been going in phases, right? And I think Gasol's injured again.
Gasol, it was his hammy, right? Was, and now Powell, and everyone's in and everyone's out. I don't even know what the hell happened to Matt Thomas. He started the year, then he disappeared, right? I don't know where these guys are going. I don't know what's happened to them. And hopefully, I guess, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, they'll be back. They'll be back." Will they?
Well, they can say that until the season's done and they aren't back.
Yes. So I mean, I guess it's good for them to keep winning games, but it's going to become tougher at one point.
Yeah, they also released the futures game rosters. Terrence Davis was not there from the Raptors.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise. He should have been there. He's had a pretty good year
compared to people who have been there. He's an easier one to slot in and take someone out. He should have been there. The numbers he's putting up year after year after year, the Raptors seem to be getting screwed on this front. That's one thing I do know about the NBA.
Yeah,
you know, going back to Siakam and Obi, guys like that, like it was just Hurdle even, right, who was there, it was getting screwed over. He was they all should have been there. And in this case, it's not surprising. It's just disappointing to see because Terrence Davis obviously wanted to be there.
They're not showing the Canada love.
Yes, no, they're not. And because year after year after year, consistently, the Raptors have one of the best development programs in the league. And they keep showing that because they keep doing well in the
and they keep
Raptors
bringing up guys who turn into really well. Like Van Vliet and Powell and Siakam and all these late draft picks that have turned into stars.
Yes, so you got to pay a little bit more attention. But, I mean, he's playing solid minutes on a championship team. And that's what he said on his tweet. And I think you should be there. Everyone knows you should be there, but take it with a grain of salt because
there's bigger things, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was, disappointing to see on the Raptors front, but hey, as I've said, they keep winning, and I guess that's
that's
most
what they're there to do, right?
So
there's not much else.
No, not in the
going
NBA.
on, but
bunch of stuff going on in the NHL. Yes. Originally,
fireworks.
Yes. Originally, I have written down here just talking about the All-Star game, but it was such a joke that I just don't feel it's necessary.
I think the highlight was the Brett Hull Gretzky mic'd up stuff, right?
Yes, that was the only interesting part, them chirping each other. Brett Hull was nobody, I don't even remember who won, and nobody really cares because it's a joke of an All-Star game.
I think the Pacific beat the Atlantic in the final.
There you go. That's your All-Star update. Somebody beat somebody, and Brett Hull went off on wing.
And Tomas Hertl scored the game-winning goal.
Right before tearing his MCL and ACL, yeah. So he won. Did he win the No, he didn't win the MVP,
No, I think Pasternak.
Yeah, it was Pasternak. That was a joke. But anyways, moving on. The Penguins signed defenseman Marcus Pettersson to a 5-year, $28.1 million deal, which is roughly $4 million average annual value. Mm-hmm. He's 23. He has 1 goal and 14 assists for 15 points in 50 games. I'm no genius, and I don't really follow NHL, contractual agreements a lot, but $4 million for 15 points in 50 games
seems a little much.
Yeah. Okay, he's 23, and the Penguins seem to know what they're doing. But
we'll give him a few years, right?
Yeah, we'll see where it goes.
His contract ages.
The Oilers signed Zach Kassian to a 4-year, $12.8 million deal, which has an AAV of 3.2, so he's cheaper than Pettersson, and he's 29. He has 13 goals and 15 assists for 28 points in 44 games, so he's better than Pettersson.
Well, to be fair, it's defenseman versus forward.
Okay, so offensively, he's better than Pettersson, but that's, $800,000 cheaper per year, Kassian for Pettersson. So, that's a good deal. The Oilers locked him up. He's becoming the spotlight for a couple weeks, right, in the NHL now. Him and Matthew Tkachuk.
The whole team thing's been a spotlight, right?
I guess now's a good time to bring up what happened yesterday
a whole mess.
Yes, a gigantic
slew of events.
Squabble of people. Everybody just beat each other up. I really don't know how else to say it because it happened the entire game.
Yeah, it's
first period, second period, third period, everyone was killing each other.
Yeah.
Best part was goalie fight. I think we both agree on that.
Yeah, Mike Smith and Cam Talbot.
Yes.
I found it funny how both of them were just on opposite teams and they just switched. And
they were on each other's team before.
Yeah.
Like Talbot was on Edmonton and Smith was on Calgary, and then they flip-flopped and now they want to kill each other.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to kill each other.
I understand it, obviously. It's bad blood by association, and it's Edmonton versus Calgary.
And it's great for the league.
Sweater you're wearing, you want to beat the shit out of someone else, but it's just funny how...
Yes, it keeps happening. And the Tkachuk thing, we've gone over that before, the Tkachuk-Kassian thing. We don't need to talk about it again, I don't think. Although, I guess after... they played twice this week, right?
They did.
Yeah, so the first time
one was
they played,
the
Kassian kicked the shit out of him for a second time.
Yeah, and then I don't even think they fought yesterday.
They didn't fight. Somebody else, I think, gave Tkachuk a good run for his money, too. Although not to the extent of Kassian throwing him to the ground. And
I think Tkachuk actually got a few punches in yesterday.
So he's improving slowly, which is, good for him. But
he's finding better targets, right?
Yes. You wouldn't want the same person to beat the crap out of you every time you play. Although, with that being said, I think everyone at NHL would love to see this as a playoff series.
I think are they slotted in right now?
No idea. No clue.
because I know Vancouver's first in the Pacific, and I know Calgary's in a playoff spot as a 2-3 team. So out of they have a chance.
I hope they do. It'll be great to see.
It'll be like, I think, between Calgary, Arizona, Edmonton, and Vegas for those 2 slots. So I mean, it would be great for hockey and great for fans.
Now in the playoffs, though, you'd have to think, would they actually fight and kick the crap out of each other then?
I don't know if it would be to this extent,
but it would be intense.
But it would be
intense.
Yeah.
So that'll be something to watch for, and I mean, we all can hope it'll happen. The Canadians sent down 19-year-old Jesperi Kotkaniemi, who looks younger than any of us, even though he's in the NHL, because he was just doing very poorly this year. He was sent to Laval in the AHL. He'll be back up at some point, I have no doubt.
Yeah, I think it's just a sort of kick in the ass, like, let's get going sort of thing, and just like letting him know that he doesn't have a fixed spot, right? Yeah. They do that to a lot of guys.
Who's the other guy? Nick Suzuki, that's who I'm thinking of.
Yes, Nick Suzuki.
2 guys that, is he still in the NHL?
Yeah, he's been doing really well. He's still
up there.
Yeah.
Both those guys look like they're 15.
Yeah, I know.
They both are ridiculously baby-faced, and it's hilarious to see a picture of this, like, Kotkaniemi, who's, went last year
I
guess last year was 18, right? And he was putting up points in the NHL, and he looks like he's 14. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, and he's and the size like fits them too. Like they're not just like small. Big dudes with baby face. They're just like small.
They're small. They're young, and I guess it's because they're young. But
well, I mean, it worked. They went out. Montreal beat Florida 4-0 yesterday. As a Leafs fan, you love to see it.
Yes.
Barkov also went down in that game.
Yeah, it was tough. I got the notification on that. That's somebody they cannot afford to lose.
They cannot lose him. Yes.
As we briefly said before, the Sharks, Thomas Hertl, will miss the remainder of the season with the torn MCL and ACL.
In the same knee.
Really, really bad. Obviously. So he's gone. He was like the lone bright spot, I would say, for the Sharks.
Well, yeah, they had like Couture and Hertl, right? And then Couture went down, and now Hurtle's down.
Hertl went down. Your team's getting ripped apart.
It's a wash. Get a high pick, right? And
no, you can't, because their first round pick is with Ottawa. So
it is.
Yeah, they don't get a first round pick. So everyone's saying, "Oh, well, at least that Hurtle's out. It'll benefit our chances of trying to get a top pick." Buddy, you are giving Ottawa that top pick, and
for Carlson, who's doing jack shit anyway.
Yeah, there's another guy. Yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot, but I mean, they're looking to move Brendan Dillon. He's another guy, so they'll get even worse without him. He might be a Leafs guy eventually. The whole team's just kind of imploding around him. They have
it's a gone season, lost season end of.
LeBanc wants out after the 1 year, $1 million deal, which everyone thought was great.
We'll see how much longer Burns lasts.
We'll see how that goes. I don't even know how many more years Carlson has. A lot, right?
Well, they just signed him, right?
For how long? I don't know though.
I don't even know.
A long time.
More than like 5 years, I think.
Jeez. Yeah. So that'll be
not a good situation.
It's a rough go in San Jose. A couple other things that happened. Tuukka Rask, Artemi Panarin, and Brendan Gallagher all returned to their respective teams. No idea how they did. They just came back.
Panarin did well. I think he had like 3 points in his return, scored a nice goal. Anyway, just sort of like key name guys that their teams needed.
Yeah, that were out before the All-Star
stretches,
break.
Right? Yeah. The Bruins can't really go without Rask and Halak. The Rangers, if they're gonna have any fight,
need Artemi. They need the bread man.
It's the same thing with Montreal. They need as many.
Although I think Montreal's pretty much out of it now.
I think they are too. I think Montreal and Buffalo are both done.
Yeah.
But that's that. The Leafs went on a little roll coming out of the All-Star break. They beat Nashville and Dallas, and then they came back and beat Ottawa at home yesterday. That was an iffy game.
The Nashville one, I think, was the most convincing win.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Nashville looked like crap.
Nashville continues to just bomb out of any chance to make
And the Leafs just shred their defense, which is supposedly, like a better defense.
Yes, and then they beat. That was what, a 5-2 game?
I think it was 5-1.
5-1 or 5-2, and then they beat the Stars 5-3, which was really 4-3 because of an empty net goal, and then they beat the Senators 2-1 yesterday in overtime. So they barely beat the Senators.
Yeah, out of the 3 games, the one that's supposed to be the blowout is Ottawa, and they make it the closest.
You think,
right?
Yeah. So,
but I mean, 2 points are 2 points at this stage, and as much as you want to get better, as like a team like the Leafs right now, you can't really dwell on.
Yeah.
Sort of
it
things.
was
You
similar.
Take your 2 points and run.
Your Leafs had a tough fight against the goddamn Senators, and they won. My Stars had to put up a fight against the goddamn Devils in overtime.
Yeah.
And won.
Yeah.
Like a 2-1 game and a 3-2 game.
Yeah.
Like,
it should not be happening.
No, it shouldn't.
But
But hey, we both got our 2 points.
Yeah.
We'll be happy. We'll
2
move
points. Keep going.
The Leafs, are tied for a wild card spot now, I think?
I think they should be ahead of Florida now. I think they're in the third.
Well,
Florida has a game in hand, right? So it's all points wise, the Leafs are in third.
They're closer now. The Stars moved up to tied for second place in the Central with the Avalanche with that win because the Avalanche lost to the Golden Knights.
Yeah, and big game on Monday. The Panthers are in Toronto.
Oh yeah,
so that'll
be a great game to watch, and that'll be a big game. Obviously, every time these two teams play each other, it becomes a big game now because those 2 points are valuable for everyone. So it'll be fun to watch. Kasperi Kapanen was scratched yesterday, just because he did a no with the team apparently. So they said, "F you, you're sitting in the press box." And Dmitry Timashov drew into the lineup.
It would have been a real shame if they went into overtime or whatever or something, and Timashov coughed it up.
Yeah,
and Duclair, someone went in and scored.
Yeah, or did Gauthier play yesterday?
Yeah, he did.
So yeah, if Gauthier, Jean Beligaud, or any, to Timashov, Engvall, if anybody did that, so that would have been bad. But everyone was like, "Oh, we think he's getting traded." It's like, no, he just pissed someone off.
Yeah,
he annoyed Keefe, and he said, "You're." I
mean, and he may well be getting traded too. You never really know, right?
You don't know.
There have been tons of reports saying the Leafs want to get Dumba. If they want to get Dumba, they're really gonna have to give up. You'd think Kapanen, Johnson, or Kerfoot and something else.
Yeah,
I mean,
although to be fair, Dumba is not. He had one offensively great season, and that's been it. He hasn't exactly been the most, the best. Was he a righty defenseman?
He is,
right. So that's why the Leafs want him. Yes.
Yeah,
but you don't need every mediocre righty defenseman.
Yeah,
is
that's
Brendan
the
Dillon
problem.
righty? You don't need every expensive veteran right-handed defenseman.
They just need to go out and get some gritty guy. I don't care if he scores goals. Since Sheldon Keefe came, the Leafs are first in goals, first in power play percentage, all that. The forwards are doing fine. You don't need offensive defensemen. We need to keep the puck out of the net.
You need Radko Gudas. You need.
That's the type of guy I'm talking
about. Who's the Dallas Roman Polak.
You
need Polak.
We need him back.
Yes, you do. Although apparently he's not buddies with anyone on the team. That's the one thing I saw before the Stars and Leafs game. He came out and he said, "I don't like any of these guys. I'm gonna go hit them all."
Yeah.
And he hit some people, but he slows molasses. But maybe you could shot block.
You can't catch them all, right?
No, you can't. But you got a few of them. That was good though. And then very briefly before we get to baseball, as I mentioned off the top of the show, Novak Djokovic won yet another goddamn title and whatever you want to call it in tennis. And what's in Australia? I think it's in Australia.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now.
He won another one. Like a week ago, I heard that Milos Raonic was the last Canadian in it, but then I saw he was playing Nadal or Djokovic, Federer.
And that's
somebody.
The end of
is
that
Federer
one, right?
even in there? Is he retired now? I don't know anything about tennis.
I don't think so.
Well, whatever. Raonic was playing someone good, and I thought maybe he might have a shot because Raonic was very convincing in his wins before that.
Yeah.
But he bombed out, I guess. And Novak Djokovic won. And I should actually know who won the women's because I actually watched a little bit of that, but I have drawing a blank on both of them too.
I didn't watch any tennis. I haven't been following any of it.
Yeah.
It's all just
who watches tennis when you can watch hockey guys beat the crap out of each other, right?
Exactly.
So moving on to our favorite, baseball, where a lot of stuff happened. And we'll go through it in detail because I don't think we spent too much time on the first three, although I don't want to know either way. So now we are glad to be joined, hopefully, by our administrator, Tomoki Graham.
Hello.
Who finally got a mic.
Yep.
It's amazing. So I think we're all happy for that. This is our first attempt at a three-man. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's get it started.
Yeah, let's get it started. So the main news was that the Diamondbacks traded for center fielder Starling Marte and $1.5 million from the Pirates in exchange for minor leaguers Leover Peguero, who's a shortstop, Brennan Malone, who's a righty pitcher, and $250,000 international bonus pool money. I thought that was a great deal by Arizona. Arizona continues to get better.
And the Pirates continue to get worse.
Yes, and they're full on rebuilding. The Starling Marte will bump Ketel Marte back to second, so you have a Marte in center and a Marte at second, and that outfield looks
either
very
way,
good.
It's improving the lineup, right? So
yes, and
they're fighting.
Yeah, they're not going to be a
playoff hope.
They can be a wild card team, I think. That you'll have Marte in center, you'll have David Peralta, and Cole Calhoun in the outfield. That's not a bad outfield. You'll get a bunch of power there, a bunch of home runs. Marte's coming off arguably his best season with the Pirates.
Yeah, a good year.
to give up $250,000 and 2 minor leaguers. I don't think Peguero or Malone were overly highly rated in this Diamondback system. So, I think it's a good move for both teams, I guess. But yeah, the Pirates continue to sink further and further down the list in terms of doing literally anything.
I think looking like around the league, there's like a team that's going to finish last in each division. And I honestly think that every other team has a chance.
Yes, there's like one team in each, and the Pirates are that one team.
Yeah, they're that
they have
central
nothing
team
going
that's
for
just
them.
nothing.
And now they have like one of the lowest payrolls in the past 2 decades, meaning it's 50% of the Rays payroll in 2019.
Yeah, you're going down a dark road when the Rays are like outpaying.
Yeah.
Well, the Rays actually win too.
Well,
so.
the Rays win too, yeah. But yeah, the other thing, like Mike Trout, getting paid $38 million or whatever this year, and the Pirates, it's like just 46 or something. Like, it's ridiculous how much Trout is making as opposed to anybody on that team. But they're loaded with prospects.
It also doesn't help that their best closer is a child toucher.
Yeah, so they lost him. Not even in free agency, they just straight up lost him. The law came in and was
they lost him to the prison system.
We're taking your all-star closer, and you can't have him for anything. So everything's going wrong. But Ben Sherrington and his gang of baseball experts that came from Toronto to go to Pittsburgh hopefully know what they're doing.
And Luke Maley.
Lukey Barrels.
Lukey Barrels, who is their one, their starting catcher right now. And 2, probably could be their 6-hitter for the first time in his life.
Yeah,
because they have so many worse players.
It's okay, I'll catch Barrels. Who's driving runs.
Okay, Josh Bell, right? Let's just go through this very briefly. Josh Bell is going to bat 3-4.
Yeah.
Cole Tucker is a guy they really like. He can hit
that
2
guy.
at short, so he'll be up there.
I think
Who
Adam
else?
Adam Frazier might be up there somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
Like maybe
Frazier
hitting
might be
1st or 5th around.
And he's a utility guy.
Yeah.
But who else?
I'm just trying to think who else they even have.
Well, yeah, they signed. We'll get to it in a bit. They signed JT Riddle.
Yeah.
But honestly, looking down at this, it's like Andrew Susac is their 3rd-string catcher, and he might be their 2nd-string catcher. He was an ex-San Francisco Giant guy from years ago. But you have mainly Andrew Susac and Jacob Stallings.
It's turning into a disaster.
Yes, it's been a
disaster for the past
decade. Ever since
decade.
they traded goddamn Glass now, right?
Yeah.
Meadows. You could
was
have an
bad.
outfielder.
That
and
was
you could
like
have
the
an
worst
ace.
trade of
That
the
was so
decade.
bad.
Yes, that was brutal. And you have Archer.
Oh,
eating
they have
money
Chris
now.
Archer. Yeah.
Well, he's your ace. Jameson Tyone, is he still there?
Archer's the ace.
Yeah, I think Tyone's not bad. He got hurt last year.
No, so those are 2. And there are obviously more, but I just can't.
Yeah.
Like, who... It's just
Who's in their pen?
That's a good question. I have no idea who's in their
I
pen.
can't even put a name to it.
Not Vasquez.
Not Vasquez. This is insane. Usually one of us can come up with at least a couple people from every team. This is ridiculous. I can't even think of their position players.
This just shows how bad they are.
When you have a $40 million
joining
payroll.
the Orioles and the Marlins and
yeah,
the Royals and the Mariners in their company.
Kevin Newman. There's a guy
Kevin Newman.
who will be their 2nd baseman, I guess. You got Bell at 1st, Newman at 2nd, Frazier at 3rd,
I guess,
and Tucker at short. There's your infield. You have Archer, Tyone.
And
You have Luke Maley behind the plate, and who do you have in the outfield? Prospects. Pablo Reyes, maybe?
Oh
I don't know. I don't honestly know.
Bad.
It's really bad. Hopefully they can sort that out. The Nationals traded for Ryan Harper from the Twins, who was recently DFA'd last week, in exchange for minor leaguer Hunter McMahon. It's a nothing trade again. The Nationals get another bullpen piece, which I guess they really do need. But it's not gonna make you win or lose too many games. Hunter McMahon will be in the minors. Ryan Harper actually, I think, did decently with the Twins last year, and the Nationals are getting anybody they can, at least to give a shot.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised because he's still relatively young. The other big signing, really the only big signing, was the Reds signed Nick Castellanos to a 4-year, $64 million deal.
They're looking better and better by the week.
Yes, they're looking better and better. But
especially with their elite pitching and all that.
Oh yes, it looks like
it's like an elite team.
I would
Central.
bet right now they run away with the Central.
Yeah.
Now I know it's Cincinnati, so you have to take that with a grain of salt just because it's Cincinnati. And ever since the Johnny Cueto days when they made the playoffs in 11 or 10 or whatever that was,
he dropped the ball.
And they dropped the ball in that one, and then the whole organization dropped the ball for the next 6 years. Like it's a tough. I think they'll do really well.
So do I. I think Joey Votto's going to come back. And
he just has to have a good comeback season, and they'll be way better.
He has to do something. He did nothing. As long as you do something. But it's a loaded team, and it was a really player-friendly deal because he has opt-outs after the first and second years. And now here's something I saw that was interesting. One of the few things that I saw about this is that Castellanos is in the outfield. You're paying him to hit home runs. He'll be one of the corner guys.
Yeah.
Earlier on, they signed Shogo Akiyama to a deal. He'll be in center field because they like
he's more
it.
of a defensive player than offensive.
Defensive guy, so he'll be in center. Let's say Castellanos isn't right. You have Aristides Aquino who came up last year.
Who came up and hit a ton of home runs
every game.
Yeah, but then
you think he has
slowed down.
He slowed down a little bit, but he's.
You got to give that a shot.
Yes, you're gonna give him playing time. So let's say you have those three, right? Just to run through who else they have here. Nick Senzel, top prospect, looked great. They said they might trade him, and then they came out and officially said, nope, he's going to be on our opening day roster. So that's 4, okay? Jesse Winker, who looked great last year for the Reds and one of the corner outfielders. Not a great defender, but he offensively was really good. Phillip Ervin, fringe major league guy, but he can play. Michael Lorenzen, who officially on their depth chart is listed as a center fielder now. So he'll get time in the center field. Travis Jankowski, who they claimed off waivers, signed to a minor league deal. He has major league experience. Mark Payton, who they got in the Rule 5 draft. Major League Rule 5 draft. That means you have the 3 outfielders, Senzel apparently. You can't get rid of Winker, and Mark Payton.
Well, Senzel can play infield, right?
But
they can play second?
Yeah, but he hasn't done that for quite a while. He got converted to the outfielder full time last year.
Isn't Moose in second now?
Moose is second. Galvis is at short. Whoever's at third is at third.
Suarez.
Suarez is third. You have Joey Votto at first. Backing him up is Josh Van Meter, who came up and hit a bunch of home runs.
I mean,
too.
we're saying this as if it's an issue, but
No,
this is an amazing issue
It's
to
an
have.
amazing issue to
A
have.
lot of good trade pieces there.
Yes,
if they need something by the All-Star break, they'll probably get
young
it.
guys too. Winker, still young.
Yeah, I think
Aquino,
Winker will be their 4th outfielder.
Irvin, still
if I
young.
had to
Mark
guess.
Payton, young. Senzel, obviously young. Their pitching staff, Luis Castillo is really young. Josh Van Meter, very young, hits a bunch of home runs. Like, the entire
it's insane,
Galvis
really.
isn't old. Moustakis might be the oldest veteran guy, and even he's not old by any stretch.
And he's going to play.
And Suarez got MVP votes last year, right? Like, it's an insanely good team.
Did he lead the league in homers or come second? One of the two. He had like 48.
Yes, it was insane. And they,
I mean, he got hurt in a swimming pool.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But, it's such a ridiculously good team on paper.
I know.
And if Sonny Gray can do what he did...
And Bauer comes back strong. I think Castillo could win the Cy Young.
I think he could too. Like, it's just insane how much depth this team has. Even in the bullpen, right? With guys like, they signed Pedro Strop. We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
But Amir Garrett, Rafael Iglesias, who has been iffy closing games, but he's still there. Justin Schaefer, who is more than adequate to pitch in the major leagues.
But the former Blue Jays,
yes,
Justin
the former
Schaefer.
Blue Jay that they gave up for no
Ridiculous.
apparent reason. Robert Stevenson, Tyler Malley, because he got bumped out of the rotation.
Yeah, and maybe even like Lorenzen can come back.
He
and
can pitch
if
them.
they have too many,
Yeah,
I mean, they have so many outfielders, right? Might as well pitch.
It's nuts how much depth they have. And good depth, too. Josh Van Meter would be starting on most teams.
They also
because
have Derek Dietrich there. He used to hit. Is he a free agent?
I think he's a free agent, actually. But I haven't heard his name come up. But hell, yeah, if you
I
have
don't know, he was
Dietrich, how can you
streaky, right?
bench Dietrich? Right? But I don't think
Well, I
they
mean,
do
he hit
anymore.
like 2-0 something.
Yeah, but it brings
And-
like a spark, right, to something. But anyways.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
Bring him out when they wear the muscle shirts.
Yes. My
Call
point
it a-
is,
call it a season,
it's
whatever.
a great team, and it looks so good on paper. The Marlins signed Matt Joyce to a 1-year deal. He's still kicking around in the major leagues. Last year, he batted .295 with 7 home runs and 23 RBIs in 129 games played. He was platooning in the outfield for Atlanta.
Yeah,
I think that's another
295
good
is
signing
not
for them.
bad.
Yeah, the Marlins continue to
It's just
get
a lineup
better.
filler, right?
Yeah, it's a filler. They also signed Brandon Kinsler to a 1-year, $3.25 million deal. He was with the Cubs last year. Just another usable reliever, right? It's nice that they're not just using washed-up veterans or minor league guys that aren't ready. Like, they're actually getting guys on the cheap for 1-year deals that can
Yeah, and like
fill in.
VR and other guys.
Yeah,
And, like,
Kinsler-
relievers can be like really valuable during
Yes.
All-Star break for good trade pieces.
Exactly. Kinsler,
I know.
if
I
he
could see
pitches
Kinsler
well,
being like a
setup
thingy.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could get you a Daniel Hudson type of deal,
Yeah,
right?
that's
When
what
the
I was
Jays
supposed to
traded
say.
him.
He's like Hudson.
Yeah, the Red Sox signed Mitch Moreland to a 1-year, $3 million deal. He goes back to the Red Sox. I didn't even know he was still a free agent. I guess he just hung out there long enough. The Red Sox finally said, okay, we need you. Red Sox getting... I don't know what's going on with Boston. With the whole Mookie Betts thing, I'm assuming he'll get traded at some
They're
point.
saying it's more likely than not that he's traded.
But, I mean, the whole team's just kind of... I mean, they're young, I guess, but their payroll is so far through the roof. that, after last year when they didn't
Yeah.
compete.
Chris Sale and David Price are all eating away.
Aren't they still paying like Sandoval some amount of money or something stupid?
I think so. I think
or like Hanley Ramirez or one of those guys. I don't
Hanley.
know.
I think both actually.
Really stupid.
As I mentioned before, the Reds signed Pedro Strop to a 1-year, pretty much a $2 million deal with incentives, and that's what my point was. Strop in the bullpen too.
Yeah, hard thrower late inning guy.
Yeah, Tyler Thornburg. I completely forgot about him. Like, it's just nuts how many people they have in their bullpen, and it's a cheap 1-year deal. He was great for so many years with the Cubs and then fell off a bit last year. But he's, a usable guy. It's even in specialty situations, which I guess are now 3-batter minimum. But, he's more than worth the $2 million. I'm going to let you say this next one because I'm afraid to ruin his name.
Okay, well, the Mariners signed Yoshihisa Hirano to a 1-year, $1.6 million. He'll be joining Kikuchi there. Maybe he'll help Kikuchi get on track and not have a 5 ERA. Yeah,
because Hirano, he was with the Diamondbacks last year. Didn't do great. That was their signing out of Japan.
I think he was good in the first half.
He was good for a while.
He wasn't.
He leveled off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Mariners need literally anybody. So this is literally anybody, and they got him on $1.6 million. The Brewers signed David Phelps to a 1-year deal plus the 2021 club option. He did surprisingly well last year because he was originally signed by the Jays, was out with injury, then traded to the Cubs. He went 2-1 with a 3.41 ERA with 36 strikeouts and 34 1/3 innings last year. And I thought he was much, much worse than that because when he left, he didn't do anything on the Jays. And then when he left the Jays, nobody heard about him ever again.
Yeah, I don't think he really did anything on the Jays, but he didn't really do anything bad either.
No, he was just there, right? So the Brewers need bullpen arms.
He's kind of like Joe Smith, and his name's so generic, you just never hear about him.
Yeah. So the Cubs signed Jeremy Jeffress to a 1-year, $850,000 deal plus $200,000.
I like that deal.
Yeah, it's a cheap deal. He had an awful year last year, but he was good the years before that with the Brewers. In essence, the Brewers got Phelps and the Cubs got Jeffress. They pretty much traded players for one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cheap deal for them. I don't think there's any downside to that. The Pirates signed JT Riddle to a 1-year, $850,000 deal, as I said. I guess there's another guy that can bounce around in the infield. But he hit like 185 with Miami last year. I don't know. You're not going to bench Cole Tucker to play JT Riddle, no matter how young he is. Getting into some minor league ones. There are actually quite a few interesting minor league guys because they were fake minor league signings. As I keep saying, guys that are signed on the cheap, but they say if you make the majors, you get a bunch of money, and they're going to make the majors. So it's really just a cheap way to do things. The Mets signed Eduardo Nunez, Erasmo Ramirez, and Rob Whalen. Whalen has a very interesting story, getting to the major leagues and then going back to the minors. Erasmo Ramirez bounced around most recently with the Red Sox, I believe, and Eduardo Nunez just continues to be there. He was good, 3 years ago with the Red Sox? Then he kind of just fell off, right?
Yeah.
Like it was them and then the Giants, and then it just kind of went downhill.
He was with the Rays,
Rays too,
right?
yeah. The Nationals signed Emilio Bonifacio and Kevin Quackenbush to minor league deals. Bonifacio will make $1 million if he gets back to the MLB. He's a very, very similar player in respect to Gerardo Parra. He pretty much fills that gap because Parra went off to Japan, I believe, to play there.
Yeah, he did.
So Bonifacio will be up. The ex-Blue Jay, who you have a jersey of, I believe.
I haven't heard that name in a very long time.
No, I haven't either. He was on Atlanta last year.
All I've heard of is Jorge Bonifacio, but
yeah,
Emilio's back.
Emilio
have his jersey.
Yeah.
$25 well spent.
I would rather spend it on a Quackenbush jersey, personally.
Well, you only have so many options at the Jays.
Yes.
At the last Jays game when they've just lost 106 games or 90 games or whatever it was.
It was, that.
Jerseys are on clearance.
Bonifacio jerseys up the yin-yang, same with Todd effing Redmond. I remember for 2 years going to the J shop and saying, it's 50% off? You want a Todd Redmond jersey? What?
Yeah, and it was
what?
They were selling like Brett Laurie jerseys 3 years after he was gone.
Laurie,
for
but at least
they still have those jerseys?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But Redmond was I guess I'm not one to talk about who to like as a reliever, but still, it's just
Matty.
for 100. Yeah, Matty, who we'll actually get to later on. But for now, I just don't know. I don't know how we even got off topic. How did we start this with Emilio?
You mentioned that I had a jersey.
The Tigers signed Kenys Vargas to a minor league deal. He is interesting only because in 2019, over the span of two teams, one Japanese team and then one South American team, he had 11 home runs, 52 RBIs in 120 games played for, I'm going to try and pronounce this, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Shiba
Latte.
Shiba Latte. There we go. And this is just as difficult. Mayaguez.
I'm not Spanish. I can't.
Well, we'll go with that. He's 29. He last played the majors with the Minnesota Twins between 2014 and 2017. Hit a couple home runs. He was like a much worse Jesus Aguilar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'll get a shot. I imagine he'd be up for a little bit because the Tigers are just so god-awful. The Brewers signed Shelby Miller and Andres Blanco to minor league deals. Shelby Miller continues to kick around. This one stat I found out about him. In 2015, he was an all-star, but he was an all-star when he went 6-17 with the Braves. 6-17. And I know wins and losses don't mean a
He must have been
whole lot.
an injury replacement guy.
Well, he had a 3.02 ERA.
Is that during the All-Star break or like at the end of the season?
So he was just getting no run support at all.
No, it was during the All-Star break. He went to the game. I believe he pitched in the game.
It's like a DeGrom sort of thing.
Yeah.
You got a low ERA, you're a great pitcher, but
3.02 ERA, and I guess this was in 15, right? So the Braves weren't
Braves
really
are
good.
shit. Yeah.
17 losses though, and I know a bunch of those came after the All-Star break. So even if he was 6-7,
I mean, like 3.02 ERA, like the Braves can't put up like 3 runs on average for him. That's awful.
Well, I mean, it was their rough years, right? So, but
Yeah.
that was just weird. The Pirates signed Robbie Erlin, Derek Holland, Charlie Tilson, and Andrew Susak to minor league deals. All will be up, I imagine. Holland will be in the rotation. Erlin will be in the bullpen. Tilson will be an outfielder.
There we
Andrew
go.
Susak
Pirates
will be your third man.
reliever.
Yeah. There. Okay, now you got 3. You got Archer with his broken body, James Tyone coming off injury, and Derek Holland.
Oh, and I thought of an outfielder. They still have Polanco. Gregory Polanco.
Oh, right. They have Polanco.
Who I kind of forgot about.
I got him mixed up with Marte all the time.
Is Keon Kayla or whatever his name is?
Keon Kayla?
Yeah. Is that guy still on the Pirates?
Oh, he might be.
No,
that guy
maybe.
was the one that started all the brawls last year.
It might be.
Yeah.
So there you have one
That
reliever.
guy throws gas.
He'll be the closer, and Robbie Erlin will just pitch however many other innings you need. There you go. Problem solved. Tilson will be in the outfield.
A few hundred.
Yeah, Susak will be the third stringer.
Derek Holland's pulled after 2 1/3.
Yeah.
Robbie Erlin will be going 6 1/3.
The Rangers signed Matt Duffy and Derek Law to minor league deals.
Derek Law.
He was
good with
know.
us. He wasn't.
He was decent with us. I don't know if he was.
Well, I mean, compared to the rest of our bullpen, he was one of the better guys.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he found a fan with a Derek Holland jersey, right? I don't know if you guys remember that.
Derek Law, you mean?
Or Derek Law, yeah. Did I say Derek Holland?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I meant Derek Law.
And Matt Duffy to minor league deals. Both will be up because the Rangers need bullpen help, and Matt Duffy is a usable infielder. The Mets signed Matt Adams to a minor league deal. I thought that was really good because he hit 20 home runs last year with 56 RBIs in 111 games with Washington.
Probably more of a pinch hitter kind of guy.
Pinch hitter, power hitter type guy. But he now joins Peter Alonso and Dominic Smith as the first base trifecta in New York. I think everyone's thinking now that Dominic Smith will probably be traded because he's still young and he can hit well. And Smith is more than an adequate backup. And Alonso is obviously not going anywhere. He did well for Washington last year. I think you're probably right. They'll use him just in fill-in role.
I think that's what they used him for in the playoffs. Was just like a pinch hit if he has a chance to tie it and hit a nuke, then give him a chance.
The Athletics sign
Shohei Tomioka.
There we go, to a minor league deal. He's 23. He's a pitcher. He's a righty. And that's all anybody knows about him because he doesn't show up on Baseball Reference. He doesn't show up on any Japanese baseball websites. He does not show up in Google, period.
Name something more Billy Bean.
He shows up on the Athletics Twitter feed, and that is it. So we're not cheaping out here. Nobody knows who the hell this guy is. So I think that I don't even know I can't make anything of it.
We'll see him in spring
Has he
training,
ever played baseball before? Has he played baseball his entire life under a different name? I don't know. Maybe he'll be in the minors.
Billy Bean knows.
Yeah, maybe it's like that guy that threw 97.
Yeah, he'll be best friends with Nathan Peterson or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And they could just go through the ranks together as
nobodies that can throw hard or something.
As some Japanese ghost and a guy who came out of a minor league stadium throws hard, right? So that's just a weird one. The Cardinals signed Nabil Krismat and Akeem Bostick to minor league deals. Neither will be up because they're not very good. The Rockies signed Zach Rosscup. The Jays know him for the 2 games he spent here when he sucked to give up a couple home runs, and then they ditched him. The Cubs signed Corbin Joseph to a minor league deal. I believe he is the brother of Caleb Joseph, who
I think
is
I
now
saw
with
that.
Jays. But Corbin hasn't done much in the majors. I think he's a career 180 batting average over 40 games over 5 years in the majors, but he's hit well in the minors. So the Cubs will give him a shot. The Padres signed Hector Hernandez. No idea who that is because there's like 13 people by that name. The Orioles signed Wade LeBlanc and Mickey Janus to minor league deals. LeBlanc will be up for sure because he was decent for a while with the Orioles. Yeah. He'll join their rotation probably. The Athletics signed Ryan Court and Ronnie Freeman to minor league deals. Court might be up to fill in as the utility guy here or there. Ronnie Freeman definitely won't. The Twins signed a plethora of guys. Parker Bridwell, Alec Asher, Juan Minaya, Austin Adams, Casey Lawrence, the ex-Blue Jay, and Army vet, I believe. And Joey Crable, Colton Dahl, and Joyus Chassin to minor league deals. Bridwell will be up. Minaya might be up. I don't think anybody else will be up. I think they'll get rid of Chassin quite quickly because he didn't. Yeah. Ever since his couple good years in Milwaukee, the Red Sox tried to use him last year. Didn't work. I don't think he'll work with the Twins. The Twins don't really need him either. And I think he'll be on his way out pretty quickly, and the rest of the guys are just to fill up minor league spots. Diamondbacks signed John Hicks and Gavin Caccini to minor league deals. Hicks was with the Tigers last year, hit a little bit. He might be up. And Caccini was in the minors with the Mets, I believe. The Cubs signed Adam Choplik to a minor league deal. No idea who that is. The Angels signed Michael Cohn to a minor league deal. He's just going to fill out a minor league spot. The Tigers signed Jordy Mercer to Jordy Mercer to a minor league deal.
Starting shortstop.
Yeah, he'll be their starting shortstop probably next year. So that's what I mean by these retardedly fake minor league deals. He will be probably their 5-hitter.
Anything for the discount, right? When you're cheaping out, you got to cheap out hard.
Yes, I would love to see. I guess they're paying Miguel Cabrera a bunch of money still, so their payroll won't be low. But if you take away Miguel Cabrera, their payroll must be pretty.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of their highest paid player.
Miguel Cabrera.
No, if it's not him, who is it?
Jordan Zimmerman probably because they signed him to a bunch of money.
Zimmerman's still on. Zimmerman. Oh man. I haven't heard that name in a while too.
No, yeah,
I remember he barely won games last year.
No, he had a couple really good seasons in the Nationals.
10 or something.
Yes,
he was good with the Nationals. Didn't he throw a no-hitter or something with the Nationals?
Probably. Yeah, he was one of those guys, like a reclamation project for the Tigers because he kind of spiraled off near the end, and then just got even worse there. Where was I? The Giants signed Yolmer Sanchez, Pablo Sandoval, and Nick Vincent to minor league deals. Vincent will be in the bullpen. Sandoval will be in the majors, and Yolmer Sanchez will be up because he won a Gold Glove last year with the White Sox. Sandoval will get $2 million when he makes the major leagues. He had surgery a while ago for something that I don't know about, but he's apparently ahead of schedule, so everyone enjoys that. The Yankees signed Josh Toney to a minor league deal.
That's R.A. Dickey's buddy.
Everyone loves Josh Toney. So, interesting fact, 2017, he took the year off baseball. He was a radio announcer. Broadcaster. Well, he bounced around with the Diamondbacks, and he broadcast a couple Blue Jays games. So then his career wasn't done, apparently, because in 2018, he bounced around in the minor leagues with the LA Dodgers and the LA Angels. And now he's going to New York, so at least he's going to big market teams.
Is there like a knuckleballer somewhere? That was like the only purpose he had was to catch R.A. Dickey.
Yeah. Well, he actually, surprisingly, the past few years, the minors, has hit much better. Like, I think he's up to a career 243 hitter now. So he's usable, right?
I think he's like a career quadruple A guy. Yeah. I think he could go to Japan and do well there.
Yeah, he won't be used too much because the Yankees have Gary Sanchez and Kyle Higashioka. And then they've also signed, I think, Chris Iannetta as well to a minor league deal. So he's behind a couple guys, but all it takes is for Gary Sanchez to break his neck and Kyle Higashioka to say, I don't want to play here anymore. And then Tony's in the major leagues, and that's what I would love to see. Where was I? The Royals signed Greg Holland to a minor league deal. He'll be up. He'll probably be their closer or setup man with Ian Kennedy.
He's back.
Yes, he's back. In his career with the Royals before he left to go to Colorado and Arizona and wherever the fuck else he went, he had a 2.42 ERA, 430 strikeouts, and 319 and 2/3 innings pitched over his career in Kansas City. That's very, very good. And the Royals need bodies, right? So if he can be a figmentation of what he once was.
Yeah, hey, maybe he'll save them 5 or 6 extra wins.
Yeah. And which I don't know if you even really want him to because they probably want those 5 or 6 losses to get a higher pick. Yeah. But so we'll see if he can. He's another trade deadline guy, right? Like if he goes back to his former self, deal him for a minor leaguer, everyone, wins in that case. Couple waiver claim things. The Orioles reclaimed Pat Valaika off waivers from Arizona after last week Arizona claiming Pat Valaika off waivers from the Orioles. And Travis Lakins they also got from the Cubs last week. If you may recall, The Cubs got Travis Lakins from the Red Sox in exchange for money or a player to be named later. They promptly DFA'd him. So he'll be with the Orioles. The Phillies claim Reggie McClain off waivers from Seattle. The Mariners obviously then DFA'd Reggie McClain to have that happen. And Ricardo Sanchez. Here's an interesting Reggie McClain fact that I know you both can love because it relates to the Houston Astros.
Oh, here we go.
Last year, Reggie McClain, decent reliever with the Mariners. He pitched in 14 games, okay? When he didn't pitch in Houston, so outside of the games he pitched in Houston, he pitched 18 innings, gave up 3 earned runs. So it's a 1.5. That's a 1.50 ERA. Pretty good, right? In his games in Houston against the Astros, he pitched 3 innings, so not a lot. Gave up 11 earned runs.
Dear God. My God.
And the Mariners promptly said, "We're gonna get rid of you." They waived him.
Well, so that's as expected, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the time.
Yeah. So, but that's nuts. You have a 1.50 ERA everywhere else over what, like 6 times the innings pitched?
Yeah.
And that's nuts. That's nuts. And so he'll go to Philly. He'll be in their bullpen.
Well, we'll see if he brings back
the
the 1.50
ERA. Yeah. No idea who Ricardo Sanchez is, but I heard he was a lefty in the minor leagues, so I guess he'll be gone. The Reds DFA'd Jose Siri, who's yet another outfielder that they don't need. The Phillies DFA'd Trevor Kelly to make space for Reggie McClain. The Orioles DFA'd Brandon Klein and Stevie Wilkerson.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The guy who made the play of the year last year for Baltimore.
I was about to pull that up, yeah.
On a shitty team who doesn't need to win anyways.
Yeah.
But he made the catch of the year, and then they promptly DFA'd him in the offseason.
And the Orioles fans on Twitter are not very happy.
No, all 10 of them.
Yeah.
It's a bad scene. I don't know why you would do that, but I guess it's whatever. And then they also DFA'd reliever Brandon Klein. The Brewers DFA'd Deolis Guerra. The Red Sox DFA'd Denny Reyes. None of these guys I've ever heard of before, but apparently they're not good enough to stay on the active roster. A couple retirements announced. Tony Barnett, a lifelong reliever. He was up for a bunch of time with the Rangers, but then back in the minors for quite a bit too. He announced his retirement. Peter Borges, the longtime utility outfielder, mostly with the Angels.
Yeah.
Super fast guy, clubhouse guy, never really hit too much, but he was above average in terms of having a major league career. And then Curtis Granderson, who everyone knows and loves, announced his retirement. He played on a bunch of teams. I won't be able to name them all, but a ton.
Tigers, Mets,
Yankees,
Blue Jays.
Marlins, Mets, Blue Jays, bunch of others.
He had like the 3rd highest WAR of a center fielder this decade after Trout and McCutcheon.
Yes.
So he's
he's had a great career. Yeah. Great career. Everybody loved him everywhere he went.
Yeah, well, he was nice.
He was great in Toronto with the Blue Jays. Did we trade him for something that year?
No, I think it was just a 1-year deal.
Oh. Well, in any case, everyone loved him here. He'll get very easily, if he wants it, a front office job because he's a smart guy. Mm-hmm. He has good relationship skills, obviously. And, it'll be weird to not see him around, but he's, 39 or something now? Yep. 36. So it's a great career for all 3 of them.
Just to add one more thing, the Phillies just signed Logan Forsythe to a minor league deal as well. Another fake minor league deal.
Forsythe will be up. He was with the Rays?
That's like all I can remember from him.
I remember him from the Padres.
Padres. That was before the Rays. So Forsythe will be up. Good for him. It's another comeback time for an ex-major leaguer. Scott Kazmir, the starting pitcher who's been out of the league for a couple of years. He's 36. He announced on social media he's trying to get a comeback going. In his career in the major leagues, he's 108 and 96 wins losses, has a ERA just over 4, and about 1,700 innings pitched. Been to 3 All-Star games. In 2005, he was voted in the 9th spot for Rookie of the Year in terms of voting.
That was an A's guy, right?
Kazmir. Yeah, I think it was. The A's had a bunch of guys that year. They had Blanton, they had him, they had another reliever too.
I don't remember him from anywhere else.
I completely forget who won Rookie of the Year, but it was a very notable guy. So so he's had a decent career. He's trying to come back. Says he'd be willing to take a minor league deal just to get some practice in before being called up. Hell, if the Marlins want him, right? Some Tigers, Marlins, Royals,
Orioles,
Giants, Orioles.
Anyone who's a veteran piece.
Yeah, and he's 36. He's not ridiculously old. He's done well in the majors before. He's a lefty. He can eat innings.
Yep.
Everyone loves lefties who can eat innings. The Padres' second baseman, Luis Urias, will miss 6 to 8 weeks after having hamate bone surgery. The one thing I question whenever I hear things like this is that, now I don't know the backstory, but why do you wait so long until it's just before the season starts and then you have surgery? Right?
Maybe he just injured his hamate bone.
Okay, so if he just injured himself, though, because you haven't been doing a lot of baseball stuff, was it baseball related? Did he trip and fall down the stairs tripping over his cat? Like, what happened?
I mean, I've never heard of a mid-season hamate bone surgery, so I don't know.
I don't know. Or maybe it's like, I don't know if they weren't sure if he needed surgery or whatever, and he was trying to postpone it and see if he didn't need surgery, and then they were like, okay, buddy, like,
yeah, maybe he's just scared of surgery.
You have no choice now. And
maybe, yeah, no, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just questioning. It happens quite a bit. The Astros hired Dusty Baker.
Exciting.
As their
He's a no bullshit guy, right?
He's a what?
No bullshit guy.
Well, he went out and said, right, like, none of this.
Well, yeah, he said, I wasn't here for this, but, and it's like, yeah, no kidding, buddy.
Old-fashioned guy.
It's disappointing. I wanted to see John Gibbons get back in the game.
Gibby.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him back on the Astros.
Gibby?
Yeah, I want to see him back with a better team, you know?
Yeah.
Not a cheating, scummy team.
No, but he would be another take no shit guy, right? Like analytics, never heard of him. Right? Like he would
sit back and drink out of my Coke cup.
Yes.
And waddle out to the umpire and yell at him.
Umpire, get ejected and go for a beer, right? Like it's just that's his mentality.
Yeah, he led the league in ejections 1 year with 9, I think.
Yeah, it was great.
Impressive.
Now, he lives in San Antonio. I'm trying to remember what Double-A team the San Antonio Missions are with. But why
Padres,
would you not...
Who? Is it the Padres?
Oh, yeah, maybe the Padres. Why would the Padres not just be like, yo, Gibby, can you come coach Double-A? Because he's good with kids, obviously. When he was with the Jays, Gurriel, all these guys loved him. So, and maybe he doesn't
probably
want
wanted a better job.
Yeah, maybe. But he also said that if he were to manage again, he'd like to be close to home. And San Antonio is in San Antonio. Like, you can't get closer to home than that. Yeah. So, but yeah, it'd be good to see him get back on his feet and coach again because everybody loves him. It seems like everybody loves him anyways. And then ESPN announced they're trying to off, as I put it, Jessica Mendoza.
Well, that sounds a little more harsh.
Yeah, it seems like, yeah.
Like well, if they did off, I wouldn't be upset with that either. But
okay.
okay. Let's go through the.
Yes, she's a terrible. She's a terrible whatever. That doesn't mean you wish death.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say I wish death. I said
you wish you wanted
to off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can offload her to anywhere else.
Offload and offing is kind of a different thing.
Okay, then fine. But she's a terrible play-by-play guy. Her comments about my Fires were a joke.
Yeah, had a very bad hot take.
Probably pretty bad with the Mets front office, because the Mets have a pretty bad front office.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just assuming she's bad with them. And then I can't stand name a worse trio of guys, or just people.
Vasgersian, A-Rod, and Jessica Mendoza.
Yeah, for Sunday Night Baseball, I want to drown myself every time the three of them talk.
With the J-Lo appearances here and there?
Yes, the occasion.
Yeah, with the cake.
So J-Lo's doing the part of the Super Bowl
thing,
and she said she's bringing A-Rod and the kids out to the midway midfield.
God, man.
It's like, go away. Go away.
If he's not gonna eat a cake on Sunday Night Baseball, what's he gonna do in the middle of Miami's football stadium?
A-Rod cannot leave people alone. There was that. I heard him. He piped up about the Fires thing too.
Who, A-Rod?
Yeah, A-Rod. I forget what he said,
though.
God, the most recent stupid thing was I saw he had an advertisement on Summer Rae's Instagram. That's the last thing I saw. I just want him to go away. Like it was a joke. He won't leave us alone. And Matt Vasgersian is good on his own. I like Vasgersian.
Matt Vasgersian's great on the show.
Yes, he's
on MLB
on the show.
He's got the Santa Maria going.
Santa Maria. But like when you combine him with these two other idiots, Mendoza, who doesn't know what she's talking about half the time, and A-Rod's just dumb. Yes, what was it? We need an even lead.
Yeah, even leads are better than odd leads because you can't tie with a grand slam or something.
Like, it's ridiculous. It's... One, mathematically, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so if you have a three-run lead and someone hits a grand slam, they're not winning?
Yeah.
3 runs up, let's walk the bases loaded and see what happens. Like, it's just...
Oh, he's a baseball player, not a mathematician, right?
Yeah, well, he was a cheating baseball player, too, right? Like
dirty baseball player.
Every time he or any other cheater talks about, like, oh, blanky, the steroids, blah, blah, it's like, buddy... You got
caught like 3 times.
You were caught 3 times.
You were suspended for like a whole year.
You were you were the joke of the that's who. It was Ryan Braun recently who criticized the Astros about cheating, and I'm all for that. It's like
He robbed Kemp of an MVP that year.
And yes, it's like, okay, from one cheater to another, don't be hypocritical about it, right? Like it's nuts. And so that's and in any case, I hope ESPN hires somebody else, right? Let's pay Jerry Howarth a lot of money and get Jerry Howarth to do
Sunday Night Baseball. Jerry Howarth.
Yeah, he's the best broadcaster I've heard.
Yeah.
Get Dan Shulman to do more, although, to be fair, he enjoys doing his own thing with the college basketball.
Dan Shulman already does a lot.
Yeah, so don't make him do more, but if he wants to, right, like, get
who's
Tony
that,
Romo. Get Tony Romo to do MLB Sunday night games, right?
Who's the old White Sox guy that was, like, super biased?
Hawk Harrelson.
He's so funny.
Yeah,
that
well, they
guy's
gotta
good.
rehire Hawk and get him in the booth. Him and Jerry Howarth and Tony Romo.
Like, every time an umpire blew a call, he'd be like, no!
That is ridiculous.
You cannot do that.
I don't know if he's still
doing it. He had the good
home
home run call, right? Like,
you can put on the board.
Put it on the board.
Yeah,
that one's good.
Yeah, so the one last thing I want to get into is, as I mentioned before, it's Blue Jays related and Astros related. So I'm sure both of you guys have probably seen it. Just some Astros fan on Twitter, went through all the games,
pitches,
listed all the bangs, and he made a website. Tons of information on there.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculously well made.
It's like a week project.
Yeah. One game in particular. So on August 4th, and I'm sure you guys have both seen this already, but on August 4th, the Blue Jays played the Astros in Houston.
Yeah.
They ended up losing 17-6. The only real bright spot in that game was that the Jays had Ryan Goins, Russell Martin, and Kendrys Morales all hit home runs. And then after that season, none of those three guys ended up hitting home runs really anymore. So they had a couple good hits, but they got blown out, 17-6. And this, mind you, was a bad Jay season. This was 17 after 16, so they'd lost a bunch of guys.
Yeah, where the front office still thought we had a wild card chance.
Yes, we thought maybe, and we ended up like 78 and 84 or something like that. Just not overly great. So it was the game. Cesar Valdez, who was with the Blue Jays, got just, as a waiver claim. He got called up to make the start. 3 1/3 innings. He got roughed up 6 earned runs on 6 hits. And then he was out. Matt Dermody enters the game for the 1/3 of an inning, goes 2 hits, 2 earned runs. He gets pulled. Mike Bolsinger goes in for a third of an inning, 4 earned runs on 4 hits. He gets pulled. Aaron Loop goes 2 innings, magically, 3 hits and 2 earned runs. And then Danny Barnes and J.P. Howell each end the game for an inning each.
Howell. That guy was so bad.
Yeah, they each give up an earned run. Barnes gave up 2 hits and Howell gave up 1. It was like a solo home run to like Bregman or somebody like that. So whatever, the Blue Jays got blown out. Then this guy made the website and it was found out that, that game, Blue Jays got smoked, was actually the game with the most recorded bangs by the Houston Astros. So that made me think, well, all those guys that pitched in that game, right? The notable one was Mike Bolsinger, which we'll talk about briefly. But what happened to those guys? Like, how did that game affect the way they were going that season?
To be completely fair, for one of the stories, J.P. Howell was shit that whole
Well, yes, and I'll get into that.
Bolsinger wasn't that great either.
Yes, okay. But so Valdez to start, just in order of appearances. Cesar Valdez. So it was he was making spot starts here and there for the Blue Jays that year. It was his second bad start in a row for the Blue Jays. After that game, he was put on the IR or IL, then released. Hasn't pitched a game in the majors since. This offseason, he was signed to a minor league deal by the Baltimore Orioles.
He'll get a chance.
Yes, he might. Matt Dermody, second in the game. The game before, his appearance before the Houston Astros on August 4th, he threw 3 shutout innings, 4 strikeouts. After August 4th and his bad outing, his ERA skyrocketed to 15.75, really, really bad. The rest of the season, so after August 4th, the rest of the season for Matt Dermody, 18 appearances, only allowed 4 earned runs combined, ended the season with a 4.43 ERA, did not give up more than 1 run in an appearance for the rest of the season. So after that, his ERA, went from 15 whatever down to, mid-4s, which is decent, right? Getting it down to mid-4s is decent. That offseason, he was DFA'd, replaced by Sam Gaviglio, much to my dismay, has not pitched in the majors since has dealt with arm injuries in the minors, and he's currently a minor league free agent because nobody has the balls to pick him up yet.
I don't think anyone knows him.
Well, I know. But the point is Valdez was done, Dermody was done after that season. Moving on, Mike Bolsinger. That game against the Astros was the last game he's pitched in the major leagues in his career. He's in Japan, I think, doing decently. But his ERA was bumped up from a 5.49 ERA to 6.31 after that game. The next day, DFA'd, or just, I think, straight up released him, and he was gone. Hasn't been back. Aaron Loop actually was the only good one that year. He had a rough outing, but he was great the rest of the season. Stayed with him, and then he went off to Philly or wherever he went, San Diego. Danny Barnes ended the season with the 3.55 ERA. It was his first and really only good season with the Blue Jays consistently. He played a full 2018 with Toronto, but he was substantially worse, and eventually he went DFA'd, sent to the minors, hasn't been back since.
We traded Loop for Wagaspack, right?
Yes. J.P. Howell, he was terrible all season.
Yeah, he was so bad.
He had a very bad go of it. He only played in 2 games after August 4th. His season ended with a 7.35 ERA. He was cut and never re-signed. He announced his retirement that year.
I can't even pinpoint the Astros to that though. He was so bad the whole year. I remember when we got him from the Dodgers, I was like, oh, we got an average reliever, like he's gonna be okay. And then no, he was just shit the whole year. I don't remember when he.
I believe out of all the hits given up, so if you compare the hits the Astros got with the bangs, for the pitches before, all but I think 2 of them were on curveballs or sliders. So there were only 2 fastballs or changeups that were thrown that were hit for singles with bangs. Everything else, different bang or whatever.
I mean, when it becomes 17-6, you got to realize that you got to slow down a little bit.
Well, when you are the Houston Astros, they won the World Series that year in 2017. When you are the Houston Astros and you are facing a, dying Blue Jays team with Cesar Valdez in a spot start, who is a fringe major leaguer anyways, and then a bad bullpen with young guys like Dermody, Barnes, and Bolsinger, and J.P. Howell. Mm-hmm. And I didn't include Aaron Loop because he was good anyways.
Yep.
But when you see a team like that and you have the audacity to think, you know what, we still have to do this. 10-6, 11-6, 12-6?
Yeah,
nah,
we're still banging.
Gonna smoke them. 17-6. Bolsinger's career was ruined by that. And I know everyone's saying he didn't have a great season anyways. And I'm not saying he did. He had
it's just like 5 ERA. It's just like the cherry on top sort of thing.
It was the tipping point.
Yeah.
Valdez's career pretty much, I think he was kind of phantom IL'd and then released to give him room. But his career was done. Bolsinger's career was done. I would argue Howell's was because he only played in 2 games after that anyways. And I think one of them
was done from the start.
Yes.
Yeah, he was shit.
Yes, he was there, but still, it doesn't, just because someone's bad doesn't give the Astros an excuse to go and say, well, we would have done it anyways.
Yeah.
You don't know if you would have done it anyways. And the next day, so that August 4th came, they got smoked. Next day, Marco Estrada was on the mound for the Blue Jays, pitched, I think, 7 innings. A bunch of bangs in that game, too, but the Blue Jays won 4-3.
Only 3 earned runs from Estrada, right?
Yes, they banged on a bunch of changeups. There were some dumb stats, like everybody kept hitting into the ground like Vladdy does every pitch now. A couple strikeouts, too, close takes that were balls. So he had a good game, the Jays won.
Yeah.
3rd game of that series, the Astros won 7-6. The Blue Jays had a 4-run lead going into the 9th inning when they brought out Roberto Osuna. He gave up a bunch of runs, game-tying stuff. Juan Centeno hit the game-winning RBI single, I think. I believe it was like a line drive right back up the middle. And that game, in the 9th inning, I forget the amount of bangs. I should have written it down. But on every hit that Osuna gave up, there was a bang.
Yeah.
Every hit.
Oh, jeez.
Bad. So bad.
Well, and now he's with them now, so...
Yes, and Osuna had a good year that year, too. He obviously ends up getting traded to the Houston Astros, and he has his own issues. But
beating his wife, yeah.
Yes, the point being, supposedly. The point being, it's such a terrible, what... You ruin guys' careers, and this is just the Blue Jays, right? This is just one team.
It's a short list of
Reggie
guys.
McClain. There's another one.
Man.
Okay, you got... Right?
Reggie
but
McClain,
his was more serious, though, right? Because he had a 1.5 ERA.
Yeah, well, he was actually good, unlike these other Jays guys who were still having,
Yeah, well, these guys were mediocre at best, right? Bolsinger, Dermody, Valdez... Dermody was probably the best out of the 3, just because he was, at that point, still on an active contract spot, or an active roster spot. And he had 18 appearances right after that. But these other guys, and I would include Howell in this, it's just nuts because you just smoke guys and their careers are just done. Now, Howell's was probably done anyways, but that doesn't give you a reason to go out and just make it that much worse.
Howell could have signed another 1-year deal. I'm not saying he wouldn't have. I'm just saying that didn't obscure his ERA or anything. He was garbage the whole start of the year anyway.
Valdez has, I believe, been playing mostly South American ball. Bolsinger has just had to move to another goddamn continent to play baseball. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. The only guy that aside from Barnes made it out of it okay. Loop made it out of okay, but then Loop was.
Well, they also had more They had more of a track record. Like
yes.
They had more success previously. So
and then so as Tomoki said here, we got what Wagus pack, for Aaron Loop. Okay, that's a whole separate issue on what you get for Aaron Loop. But the point being is that one game just ruined 3 of these guys. I would say ruined at least 3 of these guys' potential careers beyond that point. And I don't think that's what enough people are talking about. And yes, you'd have to go back and you have to say, oh, I pitched in this game, I pitched in that game, what are my stats for that? Phil Hughes did it, right? Phil Hughes went on Twitter and said, hey, lucky me, I pitched in the second most bangs in a game ever. And then they said, I think he went 3 innings and 6 earned runs or something like that. And everybody was pointing out to him that, oh, you were just shit that season anyways. That's true. But, correlation doesn't equal causation in this case.
Yeah.
You don't have... It's not a justified reason to go and bang somebody in a bad way that when they're already doing badly, right?
If anything, you would bang against the good pitchers.
Hell, yes. Yeah. Have a little bit of confidence. Who was the guy? Well, here's another Blue Jays related one. Derek Fisher was on that 17 team. Didn't get any bangs, right? He was the one guy with no bangs.
Good guy.
So, what the hell?
Didn't want it.
Yes.
Or he still is batting 206 or something.
Or they thought he was too bad enough that even if we gave him a bang...
we'll give him a bang, he's still going to swing and miss.
It would be a waste of a bang, right? Like, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. And the whole... I think Marwin Gonzalez led the team in bangs, right? Like, it was...
Yeah, we can remember...
Like 20-some% of the bangs.
It's ridiculous that we're referring to this as the bangs.
Well, it is the bangs. It is literally banging the garbage.
Yes, I know, but it's just nuts. And it's just terrible. It's terrible to see, because, like, I like seeing minor league guys, right, who are just fringe guys to see if they can do well, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the punishments are way too light.
Punishments are too light. $5 million? Who gives a shit?
$5 million's
win a World Series, ruin a bunch of guys' careers. Yeah. Who cares? Right? It's just ridiculous. The immunity towards players is nuts.
I think the players should have been punished. I think
it would never happen, but I would love to see if the MLB said, oh, Beltran, he was behind the whole thing, right? Or one of the guys behind it?
Yeah.
Okay, Carlos, you do a personal, like, Skype or FaceTime or whatever to each of these minor league guys, or now minor league guys, that when you played them, they got either DFA'd, released, or traded, or cut, or sent down in the next week, the week following the game. Them all. Well, no, don't. You don't even have to pay them. Just face-to-face conversation, right? Some unnamed Blue Jays guy texted, like, I think Shai Davidi, just saying, it's a joke, I'm pissed, and blah, blah, blah from that 2017 team.
Yeah.
Like, okay, go and talk to them, right? Call up Mike Bolsinger and be like, yeah, buddy, I'm the one that ruined, right? Or I helped ruin it.
Yeah, and friendships between, like, Astros players and other teams, like,
yes,
it's just totally gone now. Everyone's pissed off at each
Mike
other.
Clevenger, he might have hated Houston anyways, but he hates
Bauer
them so much more now.
Always with McCullers.
Bauer's got fire inside him now.
Yes, and it's like...
I wouldn't be surprised if Bauer goes out and just drills, like, Bregman as a message.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's not
and, like, not just, like, drill him in the knee, like, up high.
Call up Valdez for a game, the Orioles should, just against Houston. Just send him out there and be like, you know what, we'll give you 1 inning. Drill whoever you want.
Yeah, literally.
Pick and choose your targets. You want to chuck one at the dugout? Do that.
Yeah, I know, right? Honest to God, like, the hardest pitch Bauer throws this year might be at Bregman's head. Like, Bauer's that kind of guy.
Oh, I gotta get that spin right. Gotta aim right for the flap. Right.
Yeah, like that. Like the cannon he threw out of Kauffman Stadium before he got traded.
Just do a running start off the mound
at the dugout
as he's warming up, and Bregman's on deck. Do a running start behind the mound, and then just chuck one at Bregman, narrowly miss, and call it an accident, so no one can actually get mad at you. He won't get ejected for that. You can't.
I feel like even if Bauer drilled somebody in the dugout, he wouldn't even care.
No, it's ridiculous, and it would be hilarious. I hate all of them now, right? People are saying, oh, what will the Twins do with Marwin Gonzalez? What will the Mets do with Jake Marisnick? Well, in an ideal world, you cut them, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can't penalize those teams for signing free agents.
The most that'll happen is they'll get booed by their home crowd. And
and I don't even think that, because Gonzalez, this is his second year with the Twins?
Was he an All-Star last year?
Like, yeah, I think so, right? No, he was the Orioles last year. That's who he was. Like, okay, that's punishment enough for being on the Orioles for a year. But, like, for all these other guys, and there are probably hundreds of them that we don't know about.
Well, think about it. If there's 5 guys on the Jays, 5 guys on all teams, that's, minus the Astros, it's like 145 guys. Right?
Yes, it's just... it's nuts to think about, and it's just such a shame. It's such a shame. What are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it because I don't think there's a chance in hell Bolsinger gets another deal. I don't think Valdez gets called up. I don't think Dermody will get a major league deal or major league chance at some point in the future anyways. But it's like, I don't know. Have just, like not an all-star, in spring training even, just gather, like you remember, what was it last year? They were all the free agents, so they held their own spring training, right? And they did their own workouts. Just have a bunch of everyone involved. You can be a free agent or not. Just get everybody who's pissed off the Astros, just storm the Astros compound in Florida. And just, you don't even have to be overly violent about it. Just retarded picket signs, or something, and just surround the compound. And then, just chuck, buckets of baseballs, used baseballs over the fences into the field so they can't practice, and blast air horns and turn on loud music. Like, just piss everyone off.
Or a game of dodgeball where the Astros don't have any balls.
With baseballs, yeah. It's like, domestic assaults left, right, and center. Yeah. But everyone gets what they deserve in that case, right? Yeah. Like, egg AJ Hinch's house, do some dumb stuff.
Rob him.
I don't condone illegal activities, but just do some bad stuff.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
Yeah. Personally, I'm just offended because my favorite player got fucked over in this deal. That's why I have a hatred for this. Not to drag down Reggie McClain, but I don't know anything about the guy. So anyways, that's that. We spent a good 15 minutes just bitching about the Houston Astros here at the end. Busy week, as we've said.
Super Bowl tonight.
You probably won't watch. I might watch. Oh, you will?
A lot of people watch the Super Bowl.
Well, but
it's like an American tradition. And
yes. I wish we could get more American commercials up here. I want to see those.
Yeah, you see the one there, the Planters, Mr. Peanut dude.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah. They made a commercial of him dying.
He died.
He saved his life.
And they might not play it because of all these
Did you see the PETA?
Yeah, you see the PETA ad where all these animals are taking
Yeah.
In what world do you think the NFL would let that be broadcast?
Yeah. I don't know. The peanut commercial was the peanut dude flying off a cliff and blowing up.
Yes.
And people are getting all sensitive about the whole
it's
no. It's the comparison between Kobe Bryant.
Oh, that was way before.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
The car crash was before the Kobe Bryant's death.
I know, but they might not show it because it might piss people off.
The NFL, a football league, is gonna get pissed off that a peanut company is making fun of Kobe Bryant. Yes, that makes sense.
That was a really funny marketing.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it is.
Do something creative, like the Tampa Bay Rays have a great social media. Just make smart ass comments about the Miami in general the entire time there, or something like that. But yes, that'll be a good game. Obviously, it'll be the last game. Unfortunately, we'll probably watch that apparently. But
that
big week in sports.
Wraps it up.
Spring training soon. That'll be fun.
Baseball's back soon.
It is.
What? It's back on the 13th? Is that it?
Don't know.
10 days. I think 13th is when pitchers and catchers report.
Yeah, first game's the 21st.
Yeah. So 10 days until baseball activities take place in spring training, which will be good. Plenty of stuff to whine and bicker and complain about then. I'll continue to whine and bitch about Matt Dermody until somebody signs him, but I know everyone's sick of that by now. Everyone meaning you two and the few parents who listen to this.
Anyway.
But so Tomoki's now has a mic. He'll be in more regularly, I would say.
Just for baseball.
Just for baseball. We'll try to get you in for some other stuff.
Nope.
But no, you won't go for it. Well, in any case.
That does it for us today.
This is episode 2. Wrapping up. We'll talk to you next time.